At this time, I would take a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved. Second.
All right. Councilwoman Broll made the motion. Councilman Waltz seconded. All those in favor of coming out, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous.
Mayor, if I may, during executive session, council took up legal advice and a legal update on pending litigation. No votes were taken and no decisions were made.
Thank you, Mr. Plyler. All right. Good evening and welcome to the Aiken City Council meeting of July 11th. Welcome. My wife's birthday today. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll start with an invocation and pledge. If you're so inclined, please rise with us as we do the invocation. Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day. We're thankful for this time. We're thankful for this season that we remember the freedoms and what they cost our country as we celebrated yet another birthday. We thank you for our country and the freedoms. We ask your blessings continue upon it. We ask tonight, Lord, that things that are said and done would be pleasing to you in a way that brings honor. In your name we pray. Amen. And I'd like to ask Chief Baranco if he would come lead us in our pledge. Chief, good evening.
Evening, Mayor, Council. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. This time we'd like to go over guidelines for city council meetings. Meetings are public forums in which many opinions are expressed and the business of the city must be conducted. As such, disciplined, honorable, and professional decorum is paramount. Courteous and respectful communication is expected. During public hearing, all questions and statements from the public shall be directed to the chair. If you wish to speak, raise your hand and I will certainly recognize you. Please approach the podium and state your name and address. In order to allow an opportunity for everyone who wishes to address council, speakers should limit their comments to the subject being discussed. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to address an issue and may only address an issue once unless questions from council are posed to the speaker. With that, we move down to additions or deletions to the agenda, and I'd like to recognize our Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman Waltz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everybody. Mr. Mayor, there's one change in our agenda. Under new business, number 1, an ordinance amending the section 11-2 of the Aiken City Code regarding the membership in the Municipal Development Commission has been pulled. Other than that, I look for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All right, sir. We have a motion to approve the agenda with item number 1 or new business pulled. Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Councilman Broll made the second. All those in favor to the agenda as presented with this change, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. The minutes were passed out for council's review. At this time, I'd take a motion for approval of the minutes.
I so move.
All right, Councilwoman Diggs made the motion. Is there a second? Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Price. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the minutes as approved, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. We move down to presentations. And tonight we have a presentation from the Aiken Business Coalition Entrepreneurship Program. I'm excited about that, and I would recognize our city manager, Mr. Stuart Beanbow, at this time. Mr. Beanbow?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Mayor and everyone. We do have an update. As you know, Council heard several presentations last year about this program. It is a partnership between the City of Aiken, the Augusta Black Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Aiken Chamber of Commerce, and the NAACP. And it's a program, and Security Federal Bank. It's a program we're very proud of, and council approved it, approved funding, bylaws were distributed in January to council. In the issues and updates portion of the agenda, and the program started, and we wanted to give council an interim report as we have distributed a portion of the funds for grants. A majority of the funding is still set aside for loans, which that project will is beginning as we speak, but I am going to turn it over to Renique West. And we have Phil Wall from Security Federal Bank, Mike Hill with the Augusta Black Chamber, and Eugene White from the NAACP. And the floor is yours. Eugene, you can start it.
Good evening, all.
Good evening. We do have a presentation, so I was just trying to see if it was loaded or if I needed to get it loaded. Okay, there it go. There it goes. We also have some grantees, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this get passed out to the council.
Good evening, everyone. As we prepare to provide this beginning of an outcomes report for the Aiken Business Coalition Entrepreneurship Program, I am very excited this evening. I'm excited about where we came from. I'm excited about where we are. And I'm most excited about where we're going. We started these conversations about this program, the Aiken Business Coalition Entrepreneurship Program, about a year ago. And so slowly but surely, we've been the little engine that could as we've gone together and talked about ideas and things that we can do in order to establish a program that can increase minority and black business in the city of Aiken. And so as you know, I'm a results person. At the end of it, I want to show what we've done and really kind of plan about what we're going to do in the future. And so tonight, we are going to provide the beginning of the outcomes from this program. What I found to be most special about the program were the discussions that took place during the course of the programs. As entrepreneurs participated in the courses, asked questions, learned about going into business, there was a series of discussions that kind of took place. And I really thought those were the powerful moments as entrepreneurs sort of interacted and talked to each other, talked about their pains, their joys, their struggles, their fears, and the things that they experienced as they launched out into business. And to me, that was truly powerful. And so I want to thank each and every one of you for being brave and courageous and taking the step to support this program, because what you've done is you've truly created some magic in the lives of Aiken citizens. During the outbrief, one of the most powerful statements I heard was, "I'm really proud of my city tonight." And so as that person took their grant and launched into business, I really felt proud, because I felt like, number one, we uplifted someone, but at the same time, someone was really proud of their city. And I think we've done a great thing. When I was younger, I had a mentor who really, really gave me a hard time. It's those mentors that you learn the most from. I was young and raw at the time, so I think it might have been his purpose in life to cook me a little bit to prepare me to for the main course. But when I would get in my feelings and want to go forward and want to do things my own way, he was a French speaker. He would say, "Eugène, la lumière jaillit de la discussion." So, and he kind of always sounded like I can hear him in my head, except for my bad French. But loosely translated, that is, Eugene, light and understanding come from discussion. And that was the same kind of light that I experienced as I heard these entrepreneurs going back and forth and talking about this program. And so as we go forth and we talk about what we want to do with this program, what we've done, and then in particular what we want to do as we go forward, I'm looking forward to the discussions that to come, because I don't think that this is the end of the discussion, but I think this is the very beginning, and I'm excited about that. And so as we discuss things, black and minority businesses in Aiken, South Carolina, and also other things that we want to do to improve our city, I encourage us all to discuss, because I think as we discuss things, our little lights can shine, and we can show South Carolina and the nation the special light that shines from this place that we call home in Aiken, South Carolina. So enough of me. Let's cue up a video that we prepared to talk about the outcomes from the program.
Hi, I'm Mayor Rick Osmond. On May 17th, the City of Aiken hosted select small business owners who completed Phase 1 of an initiative called the Aiken Business Coalition Entrepreneurship Program. This initiative is part of the city's continued effort to support small local businesses by focusing on training and providing an economic opportunity for area entrepreneurs. Based on recommendations from the AECOM Strategic Economic Development Action Plan, collaboration began and the Aiken community stepped up to seek solutions.
Well, the city of Aiken adopted a new economic development plan a little over a year ago, and that plan had lots of different recommendations in a lot of different subject matters. One of those recommendations was somebody needed to work on the opportunity gap, the difference between, usually between minority businesses and majority businesses, and there's a gap, and we'd like to close that gap is what the recommendation was. One of the things that chambers do very well is convene people, and we convened focus groups, several different focus groups around this subject so that folks could educate me more about the problem, and I could apply that information and see if I could help solve the problem. Well, as luck would have it, out of one of those focus groups, a champion emerged. Eugene White, the president of the NAACP, said, "I've got an idea. Give me this weekend and let me bring you back something. I'll get something on paper." His plan was wonderful.
Changing a community is magic. And magic never happens in a silo. It happens when good people get together, collaborate, and innovate, and make something special happen. So imagine now if we can develop a program to develop economics, equity, inclusion, equality, and then tie all of the commanding heights of the community, the financial community, the chambers of commerce, the social communities, the faith communities, to truly turn the dial and impact lives, breaking down those barriers of lack of capital, lack of business acumen, and helping entrepreneurs with dreams and hopes inside of them to take that step into something special. And this is what we created with this program.
As other stakeholders in the city began to study and address small business disparities in Aiken, partnerships within the city started to take shape to establish the Aiken Business Coalition Entrepreneurship Program.
Council has always viewed small businesses as the heartbeat of our city. It's the wheels that make our vehicle run. By partnering with the Augusta Black Chamber, the Greater Aiken Chamber of Commerce, Security Federal Bank, and the NAACP, we helped all manners of businesses, small businesses, doing various things that are going to make our community a very livable place.
The city of Aiken got intensely involved, and I have to give the city manager great kudos for his interest, his dedication, but there was many revisions back and forth to with the plan because the NAACP welcomed that. They wanted, Eugene wanted to make sure that everybody was satisfied, and the language was such that it would promote success of the program. Having said that, when it went to City Council, it was almost a no-brainer.
Working together, it's all about working together. The city, of course, has been vital in this effort by providing the funds that came available and channeling that in the right direction with the assistance of a group of people that could work together.
Since the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, we've been working with municipalities, elected officials, organizations throughout the 7 states to make sure that we are making an impact within our small business community to ensure that we are impacting them throughout the pandemic. So we still need funds and programs that are innovative to make sure we impact that community, like the one that City of Aiken decided to invest in and be the first of its kind in the state of South Carolina.
The participants who met the criteria received 4 weeks of training and an additional 6 weeks of coaching and mentorship.
The class component is very, very important. Many programs that have funding components typically put a lot of barriers in those programs. Now, these are different types of participants. You have emerging businesses, existing businesses, and some established businesses that participated in. So we tried to create a program. We wanted to create a program that spoke to, regardless of where you are in size, capacity, and revenue, we wanted to meet you where you were.
Each class really gave us some insightful information. For instance, the record keeping and bookkeeping and tax class, it opened up avenues that we weren't aware of. It told us things that we didn't know as far as taxes go with businesses and the things that we could write off. I specifically remember that. She gave us a list of things that we never knew that we could write off, and that was very helpful because if we're never taught, we never know.
This program has been amazing to me and a lifesaver. It's literally changed my life along with my business because before this, I did not understand why I needed a website. I did not understand why I needed insurance to protect me and my clients, and understand payroll and the different things that came about from accounting and marketing. Your class was amazing too. So that's what this class really helped open up, is really what a small business needs.
Aiken, South Carolina is the first city in the state to deliver such a program to offer their citizens an opportunity to build capacity, and upon completing those capacity sessions, to get funding. So I just want to commend the mayor, the elected officials for allowing such a program to come to this great city.
The city supports our small business community in many ways, and the Aiken Business Coalition Entrepreneurship Program is another way that exemplifies that.
So we're very grateful for each person, from the top person who organized it to each of the other presenters who came and provided the information. We're very thankful, very grateful. It was worth every hour that we spent each Tuesday or Thursday evening on the class.
Good evening, Council. I'm Michael Hill, one of the facilitators of the program. So what we have up are some of the participation numbers. We had in the program approximately 101 orientations participants in the initial launch of the program. And from that orientation, we did about 3 or 4 orientation sessions to kind of give them a heads up of what they can expect through the program, 78 of which enrolled in the actual program, 56 consistently participated throughout the program, and we awarded 43 awardees with the grants. They're now moving, of course, into the loan process. Next slide. Oh, I'm controlling the slide, sorry. I got you. Hold on a second, where do we go? Just so that you know, and this is very common in a lot of the cities and municipalities, a lot of individuals did not even participate in the PPP or the EIDL loan program. And a lot of that is just challenged in terms of completing the application process, not understanding it, and just feeling like things will happen in terms of denials. A lot of them also were not aware of the Small Business Aiken program, which was a successful program ran before this program. And then for other reasons, individuals did not apply. So the orientation component was very, very important in terms of making sure participation numbers were met. We had diversity in terms of years of operations. Many of these businesses were what we call emerging businesses, and then we had a balanced with existing businesses as well, 26.9% or more. So, and we also had businesses that have been in business 21% for 3 to 6 years, and then we had a few that was 6 or more. And surprisingly, as you see, you also had a strong number of businesses that have been in place for 10 or more years in the city operations. We also had diverse participation from Asian Americans, African Americans, Hispanics, and then also white Americans as well. The average revenue of the businesses, as you see, a lot of these businesses were under $100,000 in revenue. And so that's very, very important because a lot of programs do not meet the needs of these small businesses. So as you heard on the video, they were very, very appreciative in terms of being able to present to this program. And of course, what we're looking for now is next steps. And I'll bring up Security Federal.
Good evening. I'm Phil Wall, President of Security Federal Bank, and this has been a great process for us to be a partner with. The training that these individual business owners have gone through, very thorough. We participated in the lending aspects in the training, and we had some wonderful questions and some that I really was surprised that some of these businesses had never been exposed to. So we're looking forward to reaching out and continuing this process through the lending aspects. The grant phase of this program gave these business owners something to kind of start with, but we are sure that the next phase, when they discover that they need some additional funds to get to the level that they need to get to, we'll find that to be very fruitful as well. So appreciate the opportunity to partner with the city and with the chambers, and this is a great opportunity for us to go forward with. And we look forward to this being a revolving fund on these loan dollars too. So we'll partner with you for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Well, first I want to thank all the partners, the City of Aiken, of course. Thank you so much for funding the program to make sure we are able to impact your business owners and so forth. I think a lot of folks were like shocked just to see all the businesses that participated. I think that was a concern, but we definitely had more of a need, and they're still participating in a 6-month worth of mentor sessions. So any training courses that they have requested, again, we meet every third Monday of the month. Last month, we had 53 participants still in that course, and most of them had received grants already. We only have about 11 that are still continuing that have not received a grant yet, but the rest have already received grants and they still want the education. So next week, we actually have QuickBooks training again. So they are still very much wanting to get the education, and we will continue that mentorship as stated within the program document. Also to the NAACP of Aiken, thank you so much. The Greater Augusta Black Chamber of Commerce team, because I couldn't do it without them, Aiken Chamber of Commerce, and Security Federal Bank. And then I don't know if we had anybody from the Aiken Chamber of Commerce in the room. I want to make sure if they had any comments, I wanted to give the floor to them now, but I don't think anybody may have. Okay. I just wanted to be sure I didn't miss anybody. And just wanted to say thank you again, and then council, if you have any questions for us, we'll go ahead and take questions.
Okay, any questions or comments?
I just have a quick question. Where do you do your training? Is there one specific place or different areas?
They're all virtual.
Oh, great.
Yes, so we do
everybody can do from wherever they need to be.
Yes, ma'am.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
Great progress. I mean, it's unbelievable what you've done in such a short while. And I've heard so many people just thanking God for having this organization put together and being able to help them not only learn about how to run business, but also help to give a little bit of money.
Yes.
To help fund some of their dreams.
Get them on their feet.
Yes. So thank you.
I just want to resonate what Councilwoman Diggs said. As council members, there's nothing more rewarding when we vote on something that's so amazing and impactful and we see it come into fruition so quickly, because we all know government doesn't move that way. And so that's what's really exciting, is how you guys came back and brought the results and showed the impact to our community. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Well, thank you again, City of Aiken, and we look forward to working with you guys again soon and all the partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. West, and to all our partners. Well done. I thought one of the most interesting things about it seemed like while the money was certainly helpful and it was a small amount of seed money, most of the participants who went all the way through were speaking and more thankful for the opportunity to learn things that helped them and trying to be successful. And the screening process that you guys put forward too before someone made it to that end, recognizing what was a business and what was a hobby, so well done to the team that went through that.
If I might add, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Is your mic on?
Say something regarding this. I want to go back and give some strong kudos to Eugene for the concept, but also for the Aiken Chamber for embracing this and the input they provided constantly with the changes to make this a great program, in conjunction with what took place with Ronique and her coming on board, and Michael and Stewart. Stewart was heavily engaged with the input, and then Security Federal, but blending, and the mayor as well, and blending all these comments together, trying to come up with a plan that would really show some positive results, not only for the participants, but in addition to the city as well, and the investment that was being made. Hearing the comments from the citizens in this room, and they were the first ones to use these chambers, and that was exciting to them. But most of all, the families that came with them, the families of these small businesses was present. That was more than one could have expected. And we saw examples in the parking area where those folks that were operating maintenance, they brought their vehicles out, and it was very obvious based on what you could see, especially those who did yard maintenance. They were well equipped to do anybody's yard, commercial or residential. So they had already made an investment in themselves. The added funds will help to expand what they are doing. What a great investment to Security Federal, who helped to review those applications, helped to move it along. Couldn't have said more about the time and investment of that team, along with Michael and Ronique, Eugene, and the Ronique, your team as well, with what you all did. But most of all, had it not been for City Council, you would not have been able to make this start. So we're thankful for City Council, their decision. And Stuart, kudos, and Mayor, to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Price. All right, let's move on our agenda. Next up is old business. Old business item number 1 is discussion of appointments to boards, commissions, and committees, and I'll recognize Mr. Beatonbow at this time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. We received a letter from George Anderson of the Aiken Barnwell County's Community Action Agency Incorporated, asking that council consider an appointment to their board to replace Sue Ellis, who had passed away recently. She was our city representative to this board, and they are recommending for consideration Mrs. Richard Parks to fill this position. And I know Mrs. Parks, she, longtime city resident, resides off of Hampton Avenue.
All right.
You need a motion, Mr. Mayor?
Are there any other nominations for consideration tonight?
There are no other nominations this evening for consideration.
Yes, ma'am, I would look for a motion at this time.
Mrs. Richard Parks is an excellent candidate, which was uttered to the team, and given her her notoriety in the city of Aiken, she's an Aiken native. She knows everybody, and most people know her. So she is one that will disseminate positive information to the public. She'll get whatever you have to offer that can benefit another citizen. She'll get that information out. So I highly recommend her.
And you make that as in the form
Yes,
of
sir.
a motion? Okay. All right, we have a,
Anybody that can persuade the city to put sidewalks on Hampton Avenue, that's a lot of power.
that's right. So Ms. Price has made the motion, Ms. Diggs has made the second on that. All right. Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor, please raise your hand. And of course, that's unanimous. Thank you. At this time, we would take nominations to be considered at our next public meeting for vacancies or reappointments to boards, commissions, and committees. Okay. Thank you. We're moving down to old business to item number 2. This is a second reading and public hearing of an ordinance to annex property at 3508 Augustus Road and zone it residential single family RS15. By title, an ordinance to annex property located at 3508 Augustus Road Northwest and to zone the same residential single family RS15. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gerardo. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Brohl. Comments from staff?
Thank you. We do have a application for annexation of zoning of property at 3508 Augustus Road. It's approximately 1.5 acres, and the recommendation is to annex the entirety of the parcel and zone it residential single-family RS15, which is consistent with the surrounding uses and zoning. And this property, as the map shows, is off of Gregg Avenue. The Planning Commission has unanimously recommended the annexation and zoning of it as RS-15, and council heard it at their at first reading, and at the June 27th meeting is before you tonight for second reading.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Beanbaum. Any comments from the audience? Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Donald Moniak. I live in Aiken County. I have a question about this. You said Augustus Road? Because
Yes,
on
sir.
the map it says Augustus Drive. Is that correct, or is it Augustus Road?
We'll look to staff for
You
that.
want to check that? Can I take this opportunity to ask two questions?
No, sir.
No?
Is
Okay.
it about this? Is it
Just
about
about this? Okay.
Yes,
Just
sir.
wondering. Thank you.
After the meeting, though, I'd be happy to.
Yeah. Augustus Drive versus Road.
It is Augustus Road.
It is Augustus Road. Thank you for the question. Any other comments from the audience? Okay. Any comments, questions from council? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of this item, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. Moving down to item number 3, this is a second reading and public hearing of an ordinance to rezone property at 828 Richland Avenue West from Office Institutional O to Planned Residential PR by title and ordinance amending the zoning of real estate owned by Aiken County from Office Institutional O to Planned Residential PR. Is there a motion? All right, thank you, Councilwoman Diggs. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Councilman Jardo. Comments from staff?
Yes, the applicant has requested that the property located at 828 Richland Avenue West, owned by Aiken County, containing approximately 9.5 acres, be rezoned from office institutional to planned residential. This property has frontage on Richland Avenue West and Morgan Street, as well as Vaucluse Road and Barnwell Avenue Northwest. The developer plans to develop this property for multifamily uses. A concept plan for the use of this property must be reviewed and approved, and has not been submitted yet, but would have to go through that process through the Planning Commission and the City Council should this rezoning be approved by council. With the current zoning of office and institutional zoning, the potential multifamily development would only be allowed through a special exception granted by the Board of Zoning Appeals. Therefore, the applicant is requesting rezoning of the property to allow for more flexibility in the design and use of the property, which will, again, require the submittal and approval of a concept plan. The Planning Commission heard this rezoning at their June 14th meeting and unanimously recommended that the property be rezoned as requested, with the condition that there be a transfer of ownership within 180 days. And it was before council for first reading at the June 27th meeting, is before council for second reading this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Beanbaum. Any comments from the audience? Okay, yes, sir.
My name is Donald Moniak. I'm a resident of Aiken County. I have one question. This is the old hospital property, right? That we're speaking of, 828 Richland?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, it's been since this issue was on the agenda before, when they wanted to develop it into what is now pretty much Project Pascalis. 3 years ago, there was a proposal and a concept plan to construct hotel, apartments, garage, conference center at this property. It was approved. At one point in time, the developer said, this will be a home run for the community. And really, very few people got in the way of that. There was a few people who objected, but there was no lawsuit. There wasn't a big movement. And I want to bring this up because my old landlord, Taylor Garnett, he spoke against that proposal, saying that the property was wanted by quite a few other developers. There's no need for the city to give the developer a subsidy. And yet he was ignored at the time, but he turned out to be correct, because the developer dropped out and burned the county, and I don't use the word burned lightly, He burned the county on that deal, left without any explanation whatsoever. And yet, a year later, City of Aiken's Aiken Municipal Development Commission
Mr. Moniak,
took up with the
keep your
exact-
comments on this issue,
Yeah,
please.
took up with the exact same developer. That needs to be pointed out. At the time, Mandy Drumming came before this planning commission and this council and presented voluminous information about what millennials want. A millennial coming before you, telling what millennials want. She was ignored.
Mr. Moniak, the issue before us
The
is.
issue before us is I approve.
Is this rezoning?
This sounds like a really good proposal. This sounds like what everybody's been looking for quite a while. Somebody who's going to rebuild in the hospital in a good fashion. The company is called Aiken Lofts LLC, I believe, which implies they're going to build apartments in the old hospital. I think it's very important for you to realize that this could have happened a few years ago, and it could have saved a lot of time and money. That's what I want to say. And I think you start looking back and seeing who had the foresight at the time to recognize when a mistake was going to be made. And start paying better attention to those people with foresight and with authority based on their experience. Taylor Garnett knows probably more about downtown property values than any other 10 people in Aiken. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me on that, right? He's owned property in downtown for a long time. And when he comes up and speaks about property and what it's worth, I think you all ought to take a little more notice instead of pandering to people who hide behind LLCs and don't even put their name on the deed. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moniak. Any other comments from the audience? Okay. Comments, questions from council? Hearing none, all those in favor of the second reading and public hearing of the ordinance to rezone property at 828 Richland Avenue West, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. Moving down to old business, item number 4. This is a second reading and public hearing of an ordinance to rezone property at 137 Prosperity Lane from limited manufacturing LM to planned commercial PC and approval of a concept plan. By title, an ordinance amending and the zoning of real estate located at 137 Prosperity Lane from limited manufacturing LM to planned commercial PC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right, thank you, Councilman Waltz. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Diggs.
In unison here.
Okay, very good. Comments from staff?
Thank you. The applicant is requesting approval of a concept plan and rezoning of approximately 8.35 acres located at 137 Prosperity Lane from limited manufacturing to planned commercial. The property is located in the Willow Run Industrial Park on the southeastern corner of the intersection of Prosperity Lane and Beaufort Street Northeast. This rezoning would allow the operation of Children's Place Incorporated, which is a behavioral health program well known in the community that serves children and families across 4 counties in South Carolina. This current LM zone does allow for the proposed use by Children's Place for child care facilities, but doesn't fit in with the long-range plan that's been described. They have counseling and therapy for the families with children included in their program, and they also plan to provide after-school programs in a charter elementary school ultimately, which would not be a permitted use within this limited manufacturing zone. For any development in the planned commercial zone, a concept plan must be reviewed by the Planning Commission and approved by City Council, and any changes to said concept plan must be reviewed by the Planning Commission and approved by City Council. And this comprehensive plan also identifies the property as being suitable for, the comprehensive plan identifies the property as being suitable for commercial uses. We have city water and sewer available to the site, road access to the property. The developer will comply with our tree preservation and stormwater ordinance. The concept plan depicts 2 ingress and egress points on Prosperity Lane, 1 separated bus access on Willow Run Road. They will need an encroachment permit from the South Carolina Department of Transportation for ingress and egress on Willow Run Road. City encroachment permits will be needed for the ingress and egress drives on Prosperity Lane. The design of the parking lot, drainage, and utilities must meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance and the city engineer. Planning strips are required around the perimeter of the project, and a traffic study will be required if the use generates more than 100 morning or afternoon, evening peak hour trips. A lighting plan will be required. Concept plan shows a proposed project consisting of an 18,401 square foot building footprint with 16,014 square feet of enclosed conditioned space. The site layout includes a parking lot with 77 spaces and a separate bus parking area. There will also be picnic and playground areas on the west side of the building. Planning Commission reviewed this at their June 14th meeting and unanimously recommended that the rezoning and approval of the concept plan with the following conditions that were read into the record at the last meeting. The council approved this on first reading at the June 27th council meeting, and it is before you tonight for second reading.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Beedenbaugh. Any comments from the audience?
I'm Ronnie Maxwell, 602 Colleton Avenue Southeast, and proud to know most of you as good friends, but I'm here tonight on behalf of the Capital Campaign for Children's Place, which I had the privilege, along with the late Scott Hunter, of chairing. We just want to thank you for, I'm being a little bit presumptuous, what I hope will be a positive vote on this rezoning tonight so that we might move forward. And if that is the case, we're having groundbreaking on next Thursday, July 21st at 10 a.m. But we appreciate what the city has done in helping us in this regard. Charlie Hanson's here with me. He's a member of our committee and a very active and important member of our committee. And good to see you, Mr. Plow. Thank you.
Always glad to welcome back a former city council member also.
You got a good memory. That's a long time. 31 years ago.
Wow. Thank you for being here. Any other comments from the audience? Okay, thank you. Any comments from council?
I just want to thank Ronnie for working with this, along with Charlie as well and his wife. Not only are you great volunteers, but philanthropists as well. You're always giving back, so thank you.
Very good. All right, with that, all those in favor of this item, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving now to new business. Item 1 was pulled from the agenda. We go to item number 2, which is a first reading of an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance regarding mobile food vending by title, an ordinance amending the zone ordinance to allow mobile food vending within a planned institutional district. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Girardeau. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Brohl. Comments from staff?
Yes. We did have some conversations. I know Councilwoman Diggs had proposed that we take a look at this. So we do have a mobile food vending ordinance adopted in 2017, which stipulates that mobile food vendors can operate in only operate in areas zoned for commercial or industrial uses, with the exception of LB and LP zoning districts. As the ordinance is written, the mobile food vendors can operate with written permission in planned commercial districts and operate in the commercial areas of planned residential districts with written permission of the HOA. Additionally, the ordinance allows the operation of mobile food vendors on non-commercial private property, such as a school, university, hospital, or religious facility, with the written consent of the property owner or authorized school official. In an apparent oversight and due to the fact that no commercial uses are printed, mobile food vendors are not allowed currently to operate in planned institutional districts. And this was after some discussion with Councilwoman Diggs. The addition of the following language in section 3.5.7.c.4 of the City of Aiken zoning ordinance is proposed. Mobile food vendors, quote, mobile food vendors may operate on the property of a school, university, hospital, religious facility, or within a planned institutional district with the written consent of the property owner or authorized school official. This proposed ordinance change is presented to City Council for first reading as allowed by Section 6.2.15.b.2 text amendment of the City of Aiken zoning ordinance, which states, quote, "Any proposed text amendment to this ordinance initiated by a member of City Council may be given first reading prior to being referred to the Planning Commission for its review and recommendation." So this is before you this evening. Should council pass this at first reading, it would then go on the Planning Commission meeting as early as August, and then come back to City Council for a subsequent second and final reading.
All right, thank you, Mr. Beedenbaum. Any comments from the audience? Comments, questions from council?
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I became very concerned about this when I was contacted by numerous food truck vendors about places they wanted to go and set up and were not allowed to. One in particular was at a Stella Kitchen on Silver Bluff Road, but also I work in a health center with almost 99 employees, and we have times when we are not able to go out and take advantage of a 1 hour for lunch. And besides fast food restaurants right at that area, is almost a food desert. And we've had plenty vendors that wanted to come and set up, and we weren't able to because of the zoning. And I just see so many opportunities for these vendors to come to different sites and not only provide the meals that we can't go out and get, but also a chance to make money and have a good livelihood. So this is why I brought it to council's attention.
Very good.
Good idea.
Thank you. Any other comment? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of this first reading of an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance regarding mobile food vending, please raise your hand. Okay, and that's unanimous. So this item will then now be sent to planning.
It would not come back. The earliest it could come back to City Council would be the August, second meeting in August, whatever the fourth Monday of, I think that would be the August 22nd.
Very good. We have no items under petitions and requests. Under information, issues, and updates, anything, Mr. Beedenbaum?
Just a couple of things I wanted to highlight. We noted that our Juneteenth event at the Center for African American History, Art, and Culture was promoted in an article in Forbes magazine's June 17th issue. Very free publicity. And also our executive director of the center has been asked to be the keynote speaker at the South Carolina Federation of Museums in Spartanburg on September 16th, 2022. So just those are very positive things that we wanted to point out to the council and to the community.
Very good. I'd like to also recognize, I think Ms. Laura Bagwell's here. There you are. Very good. Thank you for being here, our soil and water representative. Appreciate all you do for us. And with that, I'd look for a motion to adjourn. All right, Councilwoman Diggs, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Councilwoman Gregory, thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous. We're adjourned.